Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Marianne here, mental health social worker and certified hypnotist, coming to you from my mental health counselling and hypnotherapy practice, wanting to talk to you today about anxiety. And I've chosen anxiety as first cab off the rank because it's the most common mental health condition here in Australia. 1 in 4 people are living with anxiety, and that basically translates to 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men. And my caseload would certainly reflect that. I work with lots of adults who have anxiety and also lots of kids who have anxiety. And from a personal perspective, I also suffer from anxiety, so it's something that I live with every day. I have a good understanding of how it affects people. So with that in mind, wanted to talk a little bit about unhelpful thinking styles, unhelpful ways of thinking and thinking errors that can contribute and increase anxiety symptoms. So there's 4 unhelpful thinking styles that I'd like to cover today. The first one being catastrophizing. So I'm sure we can all relate to this. It's when we blow things out of proportion. We think of the worst case scenario. It might be about a current situation, or it might be about something that is going to happen in the future, where we, fear that the worst is going to happen. So obviously when we're catastrophizing, that can lead to further anxiety. And the second one is mind reading. So this is basically when we think we know what other people are thinking, just by how they're reacting, how they're responding to us. We're not mind readers, we don't know what other people are thinking. And, people could be responding or reacting in a certain way because they've had a bad day. It could be nothing to do with us. So, I guess mind reading can also contribute to, symptoms and worsening anxiety. The third one, future predicting. So this is where we think we know what's going to happen. So I guess the example of, when we go for a job interview and we, mightn't be happy with how we went, and we start to catastrophize, thinking the worst, but we also start to future predict around, I'm not going to get the job. And so, I suppose that not living in the moment, constantly thinking of the future and constantly trying to predict how the future is going to go, that can also, further our anxiety symptoms and make us feel more anxious and more worried. The fourth one is filtering. So this is where we see the negative. So rather than focusing on the positive, or the whole experience, or the whole picture, we filter out the positive and we just look at the negative. And I think that can also lead to feelings of anxiety, worsening our symptoms when we can't focus on the positive. We can't see any positive in a situation. When we look at the bigger picture, there's always positive, there's always negative. That's life. So, they're your 4 basic types of unhelpful thinking. There's lots and lots more, but they're 4 that I thought I would cover today. So, how do we challenge these unhelpful thinking styles, these thinking errors or anxious styles of thinking that can make us feel, more anxious and more worried? I think recognising them, that's probably the most important, and identifying them. So questioning yourself, is this anxiety talking? Are these thoughts true? What would I say to a friend who was having these thoughts? How would I rationalise these thoughts with a friend? And looking for the evidence, examining, these thoughts. Are they true? Are they fact? And I think just changing to more helpful thoughts, more helpful thinking styles. I think probably the most important thing is really recognising and identifying, because once we know we're doing it, that's half the battle. I know for me, I will say to myself, is this anxiety talking, or is this real? And that kind of stops me in my tracks, and I'm able to say to myself, well, no, this is anxiety talking. or, you know, I'm catastrophizing, or I'm mind reading, or I'm future predicting, or I'm filtering. You know, I'm able to identify exactly what it is I'm doing. So that's what I try and do with my clients as well. You know, I question them even in sessions. I say, look, do you think you might be doing a bit of catastrophizing or mind reading? And, you know, people can always relate, particularly people who are very anxious. They can relate to these thinking styles. So once we can recognize them, it's easy, I think, then for us to challenge them. Any questions, please feel free to comment. And until next time, yeah, challenge those thoughts.